Today we are looking at the newest Neptunia game, Neptunia Rirders VS Dogoos. This is a spin-off with Uzume as the main character, and instead of the usual JRPG gameplay, we now have a sort of motorcycle battle type thing going on. For those of you who played Game Maker Revolution, just think of the motorcycle minigame, but instead of racing, you're trying to collect doggos, while also battling opponents who are trying to do the same. I made a video about the limited edition, which I thought was excellent. As stated in that video, Idea Factory provided me with the game, which I appreciate very much. This game exists on PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch, with a PC Steam release also just being announced recently. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how this game was conceived. The Neptunia series has had an interesting few years, with spin-offs being released, despite the fans wanting a new main game. But Nep Rirders vs Dogoos is probably the most left-field spin-off I can think of. Of all things, a motorcycle game. Combine the strange genre with not very refined and clunky driving mechanics and a breathtakingly short story, and you got yourself a game that I can't really see many Neptunia fans wanting to play. I'm going to start with the story, but I'm going to assume you know at least the basic premise of Neptunia. To be frank, it would be absurd to try and get into Neptunia with this game. If you find yourself in that position, maybe check out something like Neptunia Rebirth 1 and go from there. So let's start with the story. The game doesn't take place in the main game's dimension, but it seems like the characters, specifically the four goddesses, Big Neptune and Uzume, are the ones we know, since they seem to be not from the dimension this game takes place in either. Uzume is the main character this time round. The story starts with Uzume being chased by doggos, and then the world's shortest flashback occurs as she recounts events that just happened less than 5 minutes ago. For some reason, she was strangely infatuated with doggos. She snaps out of it, doesn't know where she is, and has no idea how she ended up in this situation. She gets chased by doggos. Flashback over. You go find the other goddesses who are also super into doggos for some reason, and after a bit of gameplay, you return them to normal, and the cycle repeats. But not very often because the game is very short. The story has such a rushed tone with almost no explanations as to why things are the way they are. Neptunia often parodies, these sort of things. And I think that's what they tried to do, but it feels more like it became what it tried to parody. The gameplay consists of you and a partner riding and collecting doggos while two opponents do the same. The point is to try and collect the target amount before the other team. You can hit them with attacks to steal their doggos, but they can do the same to you. Despite there being different types of doggos that can make you big or small, for example, or, have different effects or whatever, it's all pretty easy and you just kind of breeze through it. It's kind of hard to lose, and to be honest. In fact, there's like this little, I don't know what you call it, like a challenge thing where you can redo a stage without a partner, and it's not that difficult to win and finish the stage and also hit that time limit thing there. The controls are clunky. It's not particularly fun to drive around, which is problematic for a driving game. Timing attacks is annoying because there's a cooldown period if you can't connect the hit, which can happen quite often. So maybe you'll be like, oh, maybe I'll hit a bit earlier or press the button a bit earlier, and then it's too early. And then it's like you're just, pressing the button and nothing happens, and you have to drive around and then try to reposition yourself, and it's a bit annoying. The drifting mechanic allows you to make tighter turns, basically. You can customize your bike, which impacts performance parameters in different ways. So it can be like speed, acceleration, handling, that sort of thing. The parts do look strange, so it is possible to create something truly bizarre looking. Chances are you'll end up with a few weird parts because it is useful to change things. The driving physics aren't super refined, so any help you can get is a good thing. In terms of graphics, well, on the PS5, which is the version that I'm showing you here, it doesn't really deliver performance-wise. Despite looking like this, the game only runs at 30 frames per second. Interestingly, when you're walking around in the hub-looking thing, which is basically just a stage selection menu that you can walk around in, you can see that the game shares its basis with Sisters vs. Sisters and Game Maker Revolution. The doggos are noticeably low in polygon count. There's a lot of them, so that's probably why. Some of the doggos have like human bodies, which, I don't know, makes me feel uncomfortable looking at them. The graphical highlights are strangely the occasional realistic ground textures and reflections, as well as the characters and their costumes. Most other things look a bit lackluster. You can see that especially in the environments which are bare and empty. Though I do appreciate the Mario Kart-like music and panning shots of the track after it loads up. The cutscenes are in 3D, While I praise the look of the characters, I think the animations during the dialogue and stuff are just not good. The movements are so clunky, and when they change animations, it's just so abrupt looking. Normally, no matter what gameplay sins occur in Neptunia games, you could in the past usually say, hey, at least I found the story fun, but that's just not the case here. It's basically just, insert name of character here, please snap out of it. No, we must fight. And then after the fight, please remember, oh, the memories are coming back, what was I thinking? And that's just, I don't know. The only saving grace is the occasional sarcastic jab or comment here and there lampshading the game's story situation. In that regard, at least, there's a bit of classic Neptunia still in there in some form. I briefly mentioned the costumes, but I just want to talk about them a bit more now. I think they look excellent, both the standard outfits, which are unique and specific to the game, and the DLC costumes. Thankfully, the DLC outfits are not exclusive to the Digital Deluxe Edition like with several previous NEP games, so you can just buy them if you want to. There's 15 costumes overall spread out over 3 costume sets: Swimsuit, Apocalyptic, and Race Queen. Strangely, Big Nep doesn't get any costumes. The Nintendo Switch version doesn't include the swimsuit set. Honestly, I think these costumes are a bit wasted on this game. I think they should include these in a proper mainline release. It's strange how some of the much better Neptunia games don't have that many good costumes, or alternative costumes. Yet this game has several excellent ones, all unique to this game, and with nothing being recycled from previous games. Overall, I find Neptunia Rirders VS Dogoos disappointing, if you couldn't tell. Despite having such a well thought out limited edition, the game itself just does not deliver. Plus, the game is expensive. If you're in the States, it's like $39.99, and what you get is a driving game with clumsy controls, a nearly substanceless story, outdated graphics, bad performance, given the way the game looks, and only a handful of hours of playtime. Neptunia really needs to get back on track. They can't be pumping out this sort of stuff and expect people to happily buy it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you have played the game, I would like to hear your comments there, or read your comments rather, in the comment section. Remember, you can support the channel by becoming a channel member or by visiting my Patreon page and supporting me there. Or if you don't want to do that, just watching is fine too, of course. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.